All right, welcome back to part two here. Mike saw nothing special. This is all routine stuff you guys have seen before. But I got the exhaust blocked off. I got the impulse line blocked off right there. And we're going to get this set up so I can do a quick vacuum and pressure test. So this is all I have for now to put in your intake boot. It'll almost work just with a little bit of pressure that's on there, the tight fit, but it will blow out of there. But it builds up some decent pressure, but just not enough to check it. So I put a little bit of a zip tie on here. Let's see what we got. All right, so pretty important stuff. I just do this whenever I can. It eliminates a lot of problems here. So bring it up to about 7 PSI, roughly right around there. We're holding. Okay, then you can rotate your crankshaft a little bit, and that'll check out your seals. Everything looks good. That'll fluctuate up and down, obviously, because you're building compression. Okay, let's try some vacuum. All right, and we're good there. All right, so we'll pass the test. So now we know our intake boot, impulse line, crank seals, your clamshell gasket on this saw. It would be your case gasket on a Pro saw. We know all that's good. Got my parts here, fuel line. Got a new filter for it, and I was mistaken. I have not changed the impulse line yet. Here's a new one. This one is still good, but I already bought this. I'm not going to take it apart again in 6 months when this thing's bad or whatever. You know what I mean? I already got it going in. So I can put a little bit of two-stroke oil on here. And let me see if I can get you in here. I think you can see that. You'll see right down in there's the nipple for it. Right down in here. That didn't work out too good, did it? Right in here. Okay. Slide this through the hole here. And we'll go ahead and get our filter off here. Could actually just cut this, it don't really matter. A little hook here. Use a piece of wire. Sometimes they're hard to get out. I'm not really going to care about this because the fuel line's already ripped. So I could have done this a better way, but this is the way it is now. All right. You can grab this. If we can, there we go. And we'll clean the grime off here just a little bit. Now there's a little flat spot. Let me show you. Just kind of shows you about where that goes. Little flat spot right here. So you'll know where to line your flat spot up there, or this way. Okay, we'll put a little bit of two-stroke on this. Just a little bit on there. It'll help it out. And we'll get this put in here. No sharp edges on here. There we go. Where are you at now? Probably could have put a little bit of oil on this, but it'll go on there. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. The carb really wasn't dirty inside. The gaskets were all good. Probably could have run just the way it was, but I had already had a gasket kit for it, and I threw that in there. And the exhaust, remember how I cleaned that off? It was all rusty. Already has a rust hole in there, but I'm not going to worry about that. I cleaned it up, painted it up, and we'll put our top cover on here. Have to move the brake around a little bit, brake handle. All right. When we're bringing this handle back down, make sure your fuel line goes through there. There's a little hole in the handle. Can't see that yet. Well, we'll get your wires for your stop. All right, and then move the handle aside a little bit. That'll drop down in. Fuel line going through the hole there, and whichever way it works out, you could put the impulse line. Let me see here. Whichever way it works out for you. Oh, good, you can see that. Let me get a little bit of extra light here for you. See if this helps out. All right, that's a little better, I guess. So the impulse line, I think you can get it on here with a set of needle nose pliers. Just be real careful you don't rip it, or you might want to put it on the handle first and then feed it through, however it works out for you. Everybody probably does it a little different. All right, probably didn't see that too well, but that's on there. Now we'll just do our best trying to get the intake boot through there and this grommet right here. Grommet you might be able to push from the top, maybe. Sometimes I use a little, it's an old windshield tool here. Doesn't have any sharp edges. I think we'll be better off doing it this way. We'll pull that right through. Yeah. Then we can do it a little easier here. There we go. Get this out of here so you can see that. So there's our impulse hole right there. A little tight in here. I don't want to pull on that too much. A little bit maybe, but not a lot. Yeah, kind of in the way here. Let me go ahead and pull that boot through. Well, I'm not going to lie to you, that there's probably going to be one of your biggest challenges. And before we go any further, before I put this plate in the boot, I don't want things moving around. So I'm going to go ahead and put the couple screws in the handle here. Nice and easy. You can put them in by hand. I got T-handles and everything. Do it however you feel most comfortable. You can always snug them up by hand after. Alright, let me get this out of the way here. So this boot does move around a little bit, and there is a little recessed area. Not recessed, but raised area that kind of pinches against this, I guess. I just want to try and get this in there the best I can. Set that in there, and then we will put this on to try and hold that in place. All right. We'll put our gasket on here. All right, throw our carb on. Get this fuel line out of the way. All right, let's move that line over here. Maybe that'll help us out. Trying to get my hands out of the way here so you guys can see. There we go. That right around there. Put our fuel line on here. We can actually put a little bit of two-stroke on that too. Come on. Yeah, whoop. Thought that was on there. Come on. There we go. All right. Before we go too far here, we'll get our linkage in. All right. There's a little hole down in there. And then let's put that right into our thing here if I can. Okay, there's that. And we'll push that right down into there. There we go. Then we got this other piece. And how did this go in there? You know what, might have to take this off first. Pretty sure that loops around here, and then... Okay, that's too long. We can't do that that way first. Got to go in here. Get my light. There's a little hole in here, I think. Yep, right here. Let's see. Down here, and then we will have to manipulate this thing. So get this put in here. There we go. Then we'll put our breather on. May have to pull this out a little bit here. Move this over. May have to pull the carb back just a tad. That goes this way. All right, tuck that up in there. Everything looks good. We'll throw our boot on, not our boot, our air filter housing on, I guess you want to call it that. And I always put a couple of drops of Loctite on there. Probably don't really have to. If you want to, you can. But anyway, so I'll throw the rest of this back together, and then I'm going to take a look at something else. So I got to throw the muffler and everything on. That's pretty straightforward. And after that, I'll be back. And the last thing I wanted to check out here is our clutch bearing here. Get this off without losing it. Just to see what condition it's in, clean everything up. Yeah, we're pretty dry here. So I'll go ahead and just clean this stuff up. Right here, we'll spray it with some brake clean. That's all clean. Put some grease on our bearing here. There's a bit much in there. Sometimes I just put my finger over here. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, push it right through. There's a bit much grease on here. We'll wipe off the excess. All right, don't forget to line up your drive for your oil pump right there. Got a little line on there. And it's down inside, you'll see it. It's a little lever. Hey, when that pops all the way down, come on. You'll know you're on, right there. Careful we don't lose that. All right, I'm gonna throw the bar and chain on, put some fuel in it, and we'll go fire it up. Well, we'll try anyways. So when I did a quick cleaning on the carb, I put the jets right back where they were. Low was 1 turn, 5/8 for the high. I didn't check the idle. I didn't adjust it. That's right where it was. 40 to 1. Just regular ethanol fuel. Mike, you're going to have to change that if it runs. And Anyways, let's see what we got. I do have my sonic screwdriver with me right here if I need some tuning. Here we go. This does have the Pico chain on it. I don't have a file or anything for it, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay. Try this one more time. Okay. Probably need a little more low, I would say. If we can get in here. These are very hard to get in there. Really hard. You got to go through the handle here. Let's see. Okay. About 1/8 of a turn. Now, there was some oil and everything in here that I had put in when it was sitting, so that could be part of it too. Okay, I'm just going to let this run for a minute because maybe there is some oil. It's pretty smoky here. Well, I hate to, but it sure seems like it needs more low. If that's on there. So hard with these things. There we go. If that's even turning it. Come on now. Looks like we're running out of fuel. Huh. Well, something doesn't seem right, does it? I'm gonna go even more. Very difficult to see if that's turning in there. Huh. All right, I guess let's pull this off of here so I can maybe get a better look. May have to bring this back inside. We're definitely running out of fuel. Decent idle. Still smoky. That's too much fuel. Sure seems like it needs more. But you know what? This could have been played around with. Who knows? Most likely. So that's bottomed out on the stops on the high now. Wow. Something don't seem right here. Unless it's low, well, it seems like it's turning. Okay, so that's too much fuel, I would say. Yeah. Okay. I'll fool around with this for a little bit, and I'll be back. So I played with this a little bit more, and I was almost ready to give up on it. It was stumbling between the low and the high no matter what I did. I was up on the low speed, down on the low speed, up on the high, playing with the idle. But fortunately, the sonic screwdriver here, as I just tried to figure it out, a little more of this, a little less of that, playing with the idle. I finally think I got a halfway decent. I was going to try and track down the original carb for this, but I think we're going to be all set. I'm not going to do any cuts with it. This is the Pico chain right here, and it looks a little beat up. I don't have a file for it, but let's see what we got here. I was almost ready to, you know, put up the video. I already had an ending made for it, but I've had this saw long enough. I'm glad I played with it for a little bit here. Yeah, so not too bad. It'll take a little tuning. I did end up with quite a bit more on the high, since this is an aftermarket, I'm assuming an aftermarket clone carburetor. I'm a little over a turn and a quarter, where the factory one is roughly, you know, 3/4, but you can't always go by that. But about a turn and a quarter on the high, I'm a turn on the low, and I just played with the idle. But anyways, I'll get that chain. Maybe I'll get the chain sharpened up. I might just give it back to him. He can put a chain on, but I'd like to make a few cuts with it. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And once I'm done with this, I can finally work on my own stuff. And Mike did bring along another saw that I'm interested in, and it's something that I can probably get my hands on for myself. But that'll be in another video. So I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for watching.